Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for what is, I'd say, somewhat of an extra video, but not really. As you can see by the title, this is going to be a video in which I'm just starting to get used to my new seat and my new racing rig, or at least the stand for the rig. I haven't got the new racing rig just yet. First of all, I am going to point out this is not a review of these products. So I'm not reviewing the GTOmega Apex wheel stand, nor am I reviewing the GTOmega Pro seat, but I am going to be talking about them because they are the focal point of this particular video. So if you want to know how easy it is to install and things like that, and see pictures of the product and all of those kind of things, maybe not this video. I do know there are great videos out there by sim YouTubers, and that is where I got my information from as well. But what I want to do is, instead of doing a Nordschleifer challenge video, I want to sort of try and get used to using this before I actually start, and I want to see what is different. And whilst I'm doing it, I want to obviously drive a car and just get a feel for it and talk about it. Again, as I said, this is not a review, but there will be some review aspects to it. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here we are, and first things first, as obviously I've decided to have a little bit of rain. We're at high force. I do wish this track would be updated, but we are at high force, and I'm just going to see exactly what this is like to drive. So we're just going to begin, and we're just going to have a gentle drive out and about. Oh, okay, I said a gentle drive out and about. Let's get the brakes fully checked. There we go. Ooh. So let's just see exactly what this is like. So I've recently purchased, and by recently I mean literally the other day, purchased a GTOmega Pro seat, which is my actual first proper seat for my setup, and I also purchased a GTOmega Apex stand for the future. I need to put on some full beams here. There we go. For the future, when I go ahead and upgrade my computer. And the reason I've done that is because not my computer, sorry, my steering wheel set, whatever my kit is. Now the reason I've done that is because my old one, first of all, is only compatible with the G27, and I suppose by definition the G29 and the G923, which I think would have had the exact same mounting points. So it was compatible with those, but after having it for, I would say, I think it was almost a decade that I've had that particular setup, that particular stand. It was called Wheel Stand Pro. That is what it was, the Wheel Stand Pro. So it's been a decade, or almost a decade, that I have had that Wheel Stand Pro, and it was starting to break. So it has done me really, really well over all of these years, but there's now a massive crack along where I tighten it. So any day now that crack could sort of continue all the way down. I've forgotten what the term is. I used to do material science. What's it? Creep. That's it. So that crack could creep all the way and eventually just get to a point where it will not be able to handle the forces going through, and it will break. So I thought I might as well upgrade to the Wheel Stand Pro. From the Wheel Stand Pro to the GTOmega Apex stand, and get it set up. The great thing about this is that it is not only compatible with my current setup, it is also compatible with the Fanatec setups and the Thrustmaster setups, which is awesome because that is the kind of thing that I am after. I want it to be compatible with those particular setups as well, particularly as I am going after the Fanatec setup. Are my full beams actually? They are on. It's just I suppose this is what a misty morning looks like, a misty, rainy morning. I do wish that this particular setup track would continue being built. I'm not sure what's happened to the creator. Was it Brun that was creating it? Created a fantastic track of Donington as well, but I think there hasn't been an update. Now I'm sure I'll go on Race Department and there is an update for it, but there hasn't been an update for this in a very, very long time. So yes, I got myself the Apex wheel stand. It's compatible with lots of things. Few things to note about this stand immediately off the bat. It is a heavy stand. I found that first of all, and also I think that the way the stand is designed, it's larger than my Wheel Stand Pro, but not by a substantial amount. As in, it isn't double the size. It is certainly bigger, but I would say 15%, 20% wider. And in terms of length, I think it's actually shorter than the wheel stand if I look at it in terms of length. In terms of width, it's wider, and in terms of height, it's really nice because I can bring the steering wheel higher up. Although the downside of that is that it also brings it closer towards me, so not exactly the most ideal there, but nevertheless it does seem to work really well. I also like the fact that the pedals can be put on we can have the pedals on an incline, which I currently have, and I think that perhaps I have it too much on an incline, so I'm obviously going to sort that out. And I also very much like the positioning of the gear stick here. The gear stick is much lower down, it's in a much more natural position. To be completely honest, it feels a lot like a Civic Type R. I'm not sure if the new Civic Type Rs have it, but certainly the Honda Civic, was it the EK9s, and the one after that, was it the EK9s? Yeah, I think it was the EK9s. Or was it the EP9s? I do not know my code names for the Civics. The ones in the early 2000s and the late 90s had a gear stick location very similar to this, and I do really like the way that has been done. It feels far more natural than what I had before, which was a lot higher up. So yes, very, very nice in that regard, and it is incredibly sturdy. One of the downsides to it is that it doesn't fold away quite as well as the Wheel Stand Pro. With the Wheel Stand Pro, I could fold this up in a way where it could sit flat. In this case, I cannot do that. It has to be standing up, because you cannot sort of turn the wheel in, so that you end up having it, if you try to lay it flat, you'd end up leaning it on the wheel, and I really do not want to be leaning everything onto the wheelbase. But that's being said, if you leaned against a wall, it's currently leaning against the steering wheel itself, so there isn't much there. That is one particular downside of this. Should I bring the daytime up a little? It is a little darker than I thought it would be. Just going forward in time, 45 minutes will probably fix that. But anyway, yeah, that's the wheel stand, and I'm just, as I said, getting used to it. I think I've got the pedals maybe too high. I think that is a problem. I've got it a couple of notches up, and maybe I think the pedals are a little bit too far forward, so I might push them all the way to the back. So I wasn't looking at what I was doing there, I was just looking down at my pedals. So at the moment I've got them mounted about halfway, and so I might push them all the way back, because I feel like they are a little bit too high, or too far forward and too high for me. So that is something I need to consider. For 30 miles per hour, that really should have gone around that corner at the 30 miles per hour without too much squealing, but there you go. Maybe that corner is tighter than it looks. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find a spot to perhaps park up, and I will. Yes, there's a parking spot just here, I think, because this road is closed. So I'm just going to park up right here, like so. Pop on the handbrake. It should now be on. And I'm going to actually move the pedals. I'm going to move the pedals lower down and see if that makes a difference whilst I'm recording this. And then I'll go forward in time as well a little bit. So here we go. So all I have to do, you can probably hear me, is I need to unscrew one retaining bolt on one side, the other on the other side, which is a little bit more difficult to do unless I get out of my seat, which would probably be helpful. So I'll go ahead and do that. There we go, retaining bolts are done. You'll hear a little noise. There we go. And then just lock it into a lower position. That is now locked on one side into the lower position. I don't know whether you could hear any of that. And then if I just get back into my seat, it is still a little bit tight. That is happily locked on the other side as well. Right, let's fast forward time just a smidge. Let's go forward in time 45 minutes. Go behind 5. That looks pretty good. There we go. That's a little bit better. Better driving conditions. Right. So let's see if that improves the way I'm driving. Whoa, that was a bit of a rattle. And that is somewhat better. I actually, that's quite a sunrise through the mist. That's fairly realistic. Well done, Sol, and obviously the shaders match. So looking at this and driving it, I think that lower position is better, but I still think I need to push it a little bit further back. Anyway, that's enough for the talking about the actual Apex wheel stand. This Pro seat, as I go off and read, this Pro seat that I'm on, first time I've had a proper seat. Previously, I was actually just I was sitting with, oh dear. Oh, there's actually a wall there. I didn't know that. Invisible wall. Previously, I was just sitting with I just had an IKEA chair. I cannot remember the name of the IKEA chair, but it was just an IKEA chair, and I had some cushions propped up on it to give me the height that I required, and that is what I've been using pretty much. How many episodes would I have been using that you wouldn't have? It's probably been over 100 episodes of Assetto Corsa, 150 episodes of Assetto Corsa that I have been actually using that setup. So it is nice to have the opportunity to change into something proper. And I have to say, one of the things that I was concerned about was the rotation. So obviously the seat rotates, but because of the way in which you actually drive, obviously the pedals are very close towards the middle. You're not pushing on the left and right of the seat, so you do not have much in the way of angular momentum. So you really don't put any angular momentum into it, or force to one side, which then results in the angular momentum of the actual piston, and it turns. And the reason you do not have that is because there's no way of getting that torque over, because your foot's in the middle, and moment, that's the word I was looking for. You cannot get that moment to be able to push something around, and it's really nice, the fact that we have that. That's going down a ditch. I am trying to get used to this. I'm a little bit further back than normal, and getting used to the pressure that you can put on this brake pedal as well is different. But yeah, I was worried about the rotating. Really, there's no real rotation. I can drive this really hard, and what I'm going to do is in a while I'm probably going to swap over to something like a Formula 1 car. Oh, cattle grids. I'm going to swap over to a Formula 1 car, and we'll do a bit of driving around in a Formula 1 car and see what exactly it gives us. With that, will it rotate or anything like that? You can press the brakes pretty hard. One of the things that I did get for it is I got lockable caster wheels with mine. The standard wheels, or if they are not locked, it literally just you literally just go back. You touch forget the brake. On my G27 I upgraded my brakes, so I changed my brake spring to a newer brake spring by GTI some years ago, and also I moved the original brake spring into my clutch and the original clutch spring into my accelerator. So that's the way I did what I did with it. Now, in doing so, obviously I have a stiffer clutch and a stiffer accelerator. For those people who have the G27 though, what I can say, do I want to go towards Alston or Stanhope? Apparently I can only go towards Stanhope. What I will say for those people with G27, G29, G920, G923, you need lockable. If you're getting a seat with wheels, you need lockable caster wheels. I have carpet, so it should be pretty good anyway. But honestly, even with the carpet, I just pressing the clutch or the accelerator, and I went rolling backwards. However, as soon as I locked the wheels, I can really slam on the brakes and put all the force into the upgraded spring, which I believe allows me to put, for maximum deflection, it's something like 220 newton meters of force that you can put into this for maximum deflection. So I can put in 220 newton meters, and it will not push my chair back. What does happen though is that and this is something that maybe I've assembled the chair slightly wrong. It does rock a little bit back under hard braking, and that is kind of annoying, simply because if I'm pressing the brakes really hard, for example, let's say I really slam on the brakes here, obviously I cannot with ABS, but let's say I slam on the brakes, which I will in a bit, slamming on the brakes and then pressing the clutch in, it feels like the chair is going to move back, and I feel like the chair is tilting because of the amount of force I'm putting into it. And that is something I need to test, particularly as the Fanatec pedals that I'm looking at are going to have a lot more force needing to be applied to them to actually get them to do what I want them to do, and apply the maximum braking force or get the clutch depressed all the way, things like that. And I'm a little bit concerned about the way the chair is. What I could do is I could try and just adjust the way my body reacts to me slamming on the brakes. So previously, if I slam on the brakes, what I used to do is I used to put that through the middle of my back, so that force. What I could do is I could try and put that force more through my hips, and again, that is the same thing that I was talking about in terms of fulcrums and points, moments, and all of those kind of things. You do not have that sort of moment because you're pushing at a much lower point, and it's sort of at its point of, what would the right term be, so think about, if you're pushing higher up on something, you need less force to actually move it. If you push down at the base of something, where the center of its center of gravity, center of mass, center of gravity, just its turning point is, that is where you'd need to put the maximum force, because that's essentially the 0 point. So because of that, maybe I should just try and lean through a little bit and try and lean down, maybe when I'm actually slamming on the brakes, push through with my hips as opposed to my upper or middle of my back. And maybe that is what I need to do, or I just need to, you know, to try and do exercise with stronger legs, so I have to put no force through my hips or anything, or limited force. Obviously there will still be some force. One of the other things is that it does have these armrests on either side. You can remove them, or you can just not install them, but I installed them. I want to see what they are like. They're incredibly comfortable, and surprisingly they do not get in the way, at least on my G27 gear stick, or gear lever, whatever you want to call it, the shifter. It does not actually get in the way. In fact, it provides additional comfort, I would say, to my actual gear changes, because it gives me somewhere to rest my hand if I'm driving with just one hand. And in a sense, that sort of does make sense, because in a real car you can get these armrests that come down, and it's a very similar sort of concept, sort of idea, and I do really like the way they've gone about and done that. It just works. So I'm really quite happy with that. And also, it's an incredibly comfortable seat. Honestly, if you want a new, where am I going? Am I not allowed to go? Oh, I have to turn that way, don't I? Why is this rattling like this? No, am I turning this way? I think I have to turn this way. I cannot remember. I've never been here in real life, and I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. I've driven on this track once a long time ago. Oh, is this where that weird bridge is? Which goes, it's going to double back on itself now. Yes, there we go. We can go towards Bernard Castle. I know exactly where this is in real life, by the way. I do want to go and drive around here. But yes, so what was I saying? The idea of this particular chair being so comfortable, it's bolstered as well. It feels, aside from the fact that my car has leather seats, aside from that fact, this feels very much like the seat of my car. It really does. It just feels incredibly comfortable, something that I could sit in for a few hours as if I was, you know, driving a real car, and not really have any trouble with it. So I'm very impressed with the build quality on it. It was really easy to assemble as well. I know some people have said in the past, I saw some reviews of people saying it can be a difficult chair to assemble. Really, it wasn't that difficult. But it is really nice, and I think I am oh dear, invisible wall. There you go. Again, I don't know these roads, and that's why you should never speed on roads like this, by the way, particularly if you're in the Pennines. You really do not want to be speeding in the Pennines. Roads like these, they twist and turn like nobody's business very quickly. I'm just trying to do it just for the sake of it. But yeah, it is a really nice drive to be sitting in a seat, and with a really solid wheel stand and a solid, well-built, comfortable seat. It does feel like I am driving a real car a lot more than it ever has before. I mean, I can literally be just getting comfortable in this seat. The only thing I would say is perhaps at the moment it's a little bit hard, the seat, but that is obviously because it's brand new. Once I've used it for a few hours, I'm fairly sure it will soften up to the correct softness. It is a little bit firm at the moment, but it's still very, very comfortable. There's supposed to be a little river down there, I think. Or is it on this side? One side or the other, there's a little water. There it is. It's down there. Anyway, let's give this a proper test. This was just me throwing a car around a little bit. Let me give it a proper test on a Formula 1 with a Formula 1 car. So I will be right back. Okay, here we are, Formula 1 car. Now I haven't adjusted my seat position or anything. What I have done, of course, is I now have my left foot on the brake as opposed to my right foot. So that might make things a little different, but we're going to see exactly what this is like to drive something with a little bit more force than a Porsche. I think I've geared this wrong. I have geared this wrong. I probably should go back into the pits and gear this correctly, but let me... Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. I'm not looking to beat lap times today. So, what is the feeling I'm getting from this? Well, first of all, it's actually easier to throw this car around because there's no chance of my rig moving. Like before, because I had if you take a look on the internet for wheel stand pros, you'll see that it's sort of a central column that everything is that the steering wheel is mounted on. In this case, the apex wheel stand, which is what I've now got, it has a sort of side-mounted column, so it's like an entire frame instead of just a central column. It's a full frame. Now, what that's allowing is that I'm actually getting. Oh dear. Yeah, I really need to start braking harder. What I'm actually getting here is I can feel the vibrations in. Oh dear. In my pedals, because it's all translating through, whereas before nothing would translate through because it was almost like a separate entity the way it was mounted. Now it isn't, and I can actually feel the vibration through the pedals, which is really nice. So the vibrations from the steering wheel actually transfer all the way through to the pedals. What I'm also getting is, as I said, there's no real flex on this at all. Now obviously it's a G27. It has what, 2 Newton meters or 3 Newton meters of maximum strength, something like that, peak strength, which isn't a lot, of course. The Fanatec that I'm looking at is going to have a peak of about what was it? 8? Is it 8 or 9? So, you know, I'm going to be getting something substantially stronger, but what I'm finding is that even with this, everything's held in place, and I'm not having to worry about anything having a chance of falling apart. I mean, I'm just looking at the stand now, and it's really stable, and my seat is really stable as well. I can slam on the brakes really hard and not have to worry at all. As you saw there, I just slammed on the brakes really hard, whereas previously I was worrying a little bit. If I slam on the brakes too hard, am I going to push it back? And I used to physically have to hold the wheel tightly to try and grip it, bring it forward and hold it forward. So I'd put the force through my arms to counteract the force that was going through my legs. In this, I really do not have to, and it's a different way to drive. It is as if I'm now driving. It's much more like I'm driving a real car, and that is really, really strange. I feel like this is actually going to improve my lap times quite substantially. I'm half tempted to try and find a lap time I did and see if I can beat it, just as a test. But this is very, very good. I might make a separate video saying does having a better wheel stand or a more stable wheel stand change your lap times? Because I do feel a lot more confident turning the wheel, accelerating, braking, not having to worry about anything that's going to happen. Even those little flicks, the little flicks of the steering wheel, I'm not feeling any flex in this stand, in the chassis of the stand, or the frame, should I say. And that is really impressive. And I can really stomp on the brakes, which is something that I wasn't able to do before. As suddenly I'd have to be a little bit smoother. Now I can really just sort of smash the brakes and not have to worry. Traction control for the win there. The other thing is it doesn't move forward or backwards as well as in the steering wheel, because it's mounted on a fixed point. I've not got it moving forwards or backwards. I cannot pull it towards me, I cannot push it away from me, so I do not have to worry about that affecting the way I drive as well. And in general, it's a better seating position as with the new seat. So maybe it's a mixture of the two. I did try with the old stand and the new seats yesterday, just for a few moments, and certainly the new seat felt better, but this feels even greater. Ooh. Rode the curve there, bottomed out, not enough turn. So yeah, this is very good. So now I am definitely of the opinion that a seat and a stand makes a difference. Does make a difference to get myself out of the gravel there. Does make a difference to the way you drive, and does make a difference to the lap times. I'm almost 100% certain of that. Because everything just feels more stable, and I can lean in. Now I could lean back. I've sort of been leaning forward due to the due to the microphone. I was leaning forward, but if I lean back, that's me now leaning all the way back, and it's pretty good as well. Maybe I do not need to lean back quite as much, but what I could do is I could adjust the, once I'm in 7th and up the top of a Radeon, I will, there we go, up the top, there we go. What I will do is I'll use the built-in adjustment handle and bring the seat forward, and there we go. Now I've got a more upright driving position, maybe a little bit too upright there, but I can adjust that position of the seat to what I prefer. Now I've always preferred a more upright driving position. Even in my car, I always drive a lot more upright than my the rest of my family that I've seen. Anyone else in my family, cousins, uncles, aunts, they all drive in a more reclined position. I am far more upright than they are in those in a car. So you know, I have that opportunity to do that with this chair, something I couldn't do with my old chair, and so I didn't have that support on my neck or on my back. I just had to make do, and the way I made do, as I said, was with pillows and cushions, which wasn't so ideal, but it certainly works. that seems like an okay position to drive in. But yeah, this is really nice. So I think I've got myself quite used to this now. Not sure if first was the right idea there. Locking wheels as well. It does bring a completely different driving experience, and I think I'll make a separate video saying does this actually affect your lap times, because I do think it does. I'm going to go find a slightly older lap time that I've done of. I think it was at Silverstone in this car. I've done the lap time, and I'll go see if it's possible to beat it, or how easy is it for me to just jump straight in and get close to that lap time. That's the other thing. So there we go. This has just been a bit of a ramble, of course. I'm just getting used to this, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I thought I'd just make a quick video out of it. Say quick video, it's probably about 40 minutes, but there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. Of course, I have the Nordschleife challenge, and now that I have a seat, all I need, a seat and a better stand, all I need now is the new kit for me to be able to create even more videos, because that is what I intend to do. And of course, none of this would have been possible without support on Patreon, and people advising me and supporting me through the years in comments as well, and all of those kind of things. So if you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your supports would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out and allow me to put some additional funds faster or quicker towards getting the Fanatec products that I am after. You can also find me on social media at ECGadgetLP for both Twitter and Instagram. I really should be shifting up much earlier than I am. But that is all from me, and I will see you in, well, I suppose in another video on Assetto Corsa. But the next video I'm going to record straight after this is changing a wheel stand, having a better wheel stand and seat, particularly a seat, make you a faster driver. That is a question I want to answer for myself, so make sure you stay tuned for that.